Oh no. Thank you, engineers. God. All right, we got the ATV in the shop today. We gotta fix a broken part and we're gonna do a little upgrade to it. So let's get at it. Welcome back to the channel. All right guys, so what we have here is a 2023 Polaris Sportsman 570 EFI. It's all-wheel drive. We bought this thing brand new and it's been a really good ATV. The only thing we really use this ATV for is just riding around the property or hunting and maybe some light trail riding. All right, so we got it in the shop today because like I said, we got a broken CV axle. Wife was out riding around. She started noticing a clicking noise. Well, after I started digging into it, well, let me just kind of show you what I found. So there's our CV axle. And if you see, if you grab it, it's pretty solid. If you come over here on this side, yeah, it has definitely broken inside of there. So I have a new one right there. So we're gonna put that on. I also gotta do a service on it. So we're gonna do a service, put a battery in it, and in this little bitty tiny box is a 2-inch lift kit that we're gonna put on. Yeah, so we got a little bit of work to do on it. So let's get this thing in the air and let's get that axle out. Times like now where I wish I had either, which I know that was a little excessive, but either an automotive lift or at least an ATV lift. That would be kind of nice. Being there it goes. That's no good. And we should be able to take this little pry bar and just kind of, ooh, there we go. That was actually probably the easiest CV axle I've ever changed. All right, let's get our new one. Good, bad. All right, let's shove that back in. Just like that. We're just gonna leave it loose right now. I wanna open up the box for the lift kit and see what all this is gonna entail, because I'd hate to bolt all this stuff back up just for some reason have to take something back off, because I think on the front it is done with a spacer for the front shock. So if I got to take everything off, then you know I don't want to put it all back together and then have to take it back off. So in the box we have some nuts and bolts, what I believe are the spacers for the shock, another bracket, a bracket, and I do believe we got some instructions here. So let's take a look. All right, this looks fairly simple, not too terrible.
You sure about that?
But we can go ahead and tighten that up. So we'll tighten it up and then we'll start working on the front half of the lift. Seems how it's already up in the air. Install a new cotter pin. All right. I tell you. Oh, do I? Really? I really do.
May I have your attention, please?
This is a public service announcement to any and all engineers out there. Us as mechanics hate you. Let me show you why. So, for the instructions, we have to basically undo the top of the strut. So that way we can put in our spacer block. So, it's gotta come out. Well, anybody with common sense would say, hey, let's just have access so that way it's easy. No. So now the whole front plastic section has to come off. Thank you, engineers. All right, we got the front plastics all taken off. It really wasn't too bad taking it off, but I still feel like it was unnecessary. They could have done some cutouts to make that a little bit easier. So, but what do I know? So now all we gotta do, we just gotta take the shock off, screw in our adapter plate on the top of the thread, install it back in there, and that's all there is for the front half of it. All right, that's the front half of it. All right, while I'm at it, I'm gonna go ahead and do the service on it as well because it needs to be done. While the oil's draining right now, we'll go ahead and we'll do our filter and put it in the new spark plug. Filter's pretty easy. Just unscrew the clamp, pop it off, put it on the new one, and that's it. Spark plug is actually pretty decent. Normally I like to fill my filter up before I put it in, just so that way it's not got a really dry start when it first starts up. But you can't really do it on this one because the filter's mounted sideways and not up. So I'm at least gonna get some oil on that seal. You always want to put a little bit of oil on that seal, because I've seen them before where you put a filter on and that seal was dry, and you put it on there and it's tight and everything, and then all of a sudden it starts leaking. Something about it, I don't know. Something I've always done, and that's what I was told when I was getting into the industry. So that's what I do. All right, got the filter on there. And before anybody starts yelling about how I put that filter wrench on that filter, you're actually supposed to. And I ain't gonna say it's like that on all filters, but on some filters, there's actually instructions on it. It says right there, put oil on the seal. Then you're gonna screw it on hand tight. And then on this one it says, 3/4 of a turn with the wrench. So next time you're doing an oil change, check your filter, see if it's got instructions. All right, let's put some oil in it. Now I just got to put everything back on. Well, it's a little hard to tell, but it does look like this side is a little bit higher than the back side. I can tell a little bit in the wheel well right there, that gap. It's a little bit further out than it was before, so, but not too bad. Now we just got to do the back side, and that should be a whole lot easier. So just a couple little brackets to put in place of the shock. So now we'll get that done. All right, got about halfway through the other side before I realized I wasn't recording on that side. So that side's done. Now it's just this side right here to put in. It was actually pretty easy. All we have to do is just take the bottom bolt out of the shock and put in our 2 brackets. And then we gotta take our sway bar here, undo the top bolt on it. It comes with a new longer bolt and then a spacer that'll go up under here, put it all in, tighten it all down, and that's all there is to it. Got our longer bolt and spacer, and then everything just goes right back like it was. I feel like you can definitely tell on the back side that it's been picked up some, but all in all, it's not too bad. We didn't want to go too crazy with the lift, just a little bit more ground clearance in case we're out in the woods or something like that. So now let's take it out and see how she handles. All right, I took it out, rode it around a little bit, and it did pretty good. I actually got caught up in the rain, so brought it back inside, but overall everything's working good like it's supposed to. All right guys, we're gonna wrap it up on this one. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and as always, we'll see you in the next one. Well, let's see what happened. So I don't know how, but the shaft literally sheared off clean. That's crazy.